So there are three things that I'm going to talk about today. The first being, what is validation? The second being, what is the difference between internal and external validation? And the third is the holy grail, how to remove your desire and want and need for external validation.
The sun is coming up, are you ready to go? We can take it right, we can take it slow.
It's your boy Paul Fishman, self-love coach and You Do You activist. Join me each week as we journey together on the road to self-love. Whether I'm having a candid conversation in my car with a very special guest, getting up close and personal with you during a solo cast, or sharing emotional moments with my clients, you can expect from this show that you will walk away feeling empowered and inspired to accept you for you, strive for a life that feels complete, and most importantly, with the understanding that you are not alone. Now let's buckle up and get ready, because here we go. Oh hey self-lovers, welcome back to another episode of Self-Love Solo Casts. Yeah. Why can't I stop making myself laugh over this? So here's the deal. Over the past couple of weeks, I've been really driving home the importance of self-validation, right? Trusting yourself, acknowledging that you know the best of the best of the best for you. And I thought that it'd be really cool for me to dive even deeper into what it looks like to validate yourself and why ditching the need for other people's validation is going to be your ticket to liberation, happiness, and ultimate fulfillment. So with that being said, let's get buckled up and get ready, because here we go. Okay, self-lovers, so let's talk about validation and why it has been ingrained in us and made to almost feel necessary to feel like we're successful. Okay, so first of all, right here and now, we live in the era of social media. We live in the technological age where we put things out about ourselves and we hope and pray that other people will tell us we're good enough, pretty enough, successful enough, whatever it might be. So I'm really excited to kind of dismantle your thought process around why external validation is actually the killer of your joy and happiness. Okay? So let's get into it. So there are three things that I'm going to talk about today. The first being, what is validation? The second being, what is the difference between internal and external validation? And the third is the holy grail, how to remove your desire and want and need for external validation. The first thing we're going to talk about, validation. What is it? Validation is approval. Right? It's approval. It's saying you are doing it, you are enough, you are worthy, you are on the right path, whatever it might be. Easy, simple. So when we're thinking about external validation, we're thinking about other people approving us. Internal validation, we're thinking about ourselves approving us. Now, this might not be as cut and dry as the former, right? External validation, external approval basically looks like a parent, friend, family, stranger on the internet liking, approving, saying you're good enough or whatever, celebrating you, right? Easy peasy. When it comes to internal validation, this can get a little more challenging, because ultimately what we get to do when we internally approve and validate ourselves is stand on our own 2 feet and say, I'm good enough as I am right here and now, and that is enough for me. So I want to challenge you to use that statement and look in the mirror right now and say it. I am good enough as I am right here and right now, and that's good enough for me. I am enough right here and now, and that's good enough for me. I know that I am worthy, and that's good enough for me. Punctuating any of those statements with, and that's good enough for me, is going to be the key to that internal validation. I have a job that I love, and that's good enough for me. I'm pursuing my dreams, and that's good enough for me. Do you see where I'm getting at here? Nowhere in this is my parents said that I'd be a lawyer, and now I'm going to pursue the performing arts. so they hate me, right? None of it is that, even though I can totally relate to that statement, because for a long time, I told myself the story that my parents didn't approve of me wanting to be the sixth member of NSYNC. If it's your first time here, it's an ongoing thing. We talk about it all the time, but really, NSYNC, if you are ready to get back together, your boy is ready to be a Joey Fatone moment. Although I heard that Joey is the best dancer and I would need a little bit of help in the dancing department, but I can move and I'm passionate. Anyway, in my wildest dreams, like this podcast grows to the point where like this dream just has to come true. And I'm like recording the show with the members of NSYNC. I'm not going to do this to you right now. I could just, next time on Self Love Solo Cast, we talk about the elaborate dreams that I have for being the sixth member of NSYNC. But this time, and that's good enough for me. And this time, we're just going to talk about that need for validation. I hope you're smiling. I hope that you're here because you love my rants about being in a boy band that will never get back together. But never say never, Paul. Okay, we've spent too much time. I'm not even being sponsored by this. So where was I? Oh, yes. And that's good enough for me. This is going to be your statement, right? If you're feeling in your mind that you're spiraling, I only am so far along in my college degree, or I have so much further to go till financial freedom, or whatever you're beating yourself up about. Get underneath that, and I want you to ask yourself this question. Is this something that bothers me, or is it something that's bothering someone else in my life? Is this something that's bothering me, or is this something that's bothering someone else in my life? This is a really simple question that you can ask yourself that's going to maybe blow your mind and blow the whole external validation conversation out of the water, because you may be able to witness right here and now that, oh, wait a second. I'm doing this because someone else told me that I should do it, or I'm doing this because I think that someone else is expecting me to do it. Well, another little gem of a quote is that expectations are just on their way to turning into resentment. So parents, if you're listening to this, why are you expecting your kids to do anything other than be themselves? Children of parents riddled with expectation, why are you trying to make your parents happy? I was watching TikTok, scrolling through, lost a couple hours of my life, not mad about it. And there was this whole conversation about expectations and parents and how kids, we owe our parents really nothing. Like, our parents decided to have us, right? And because of that, we have this unspoken contract that some parents are not really aware of, that the parents are supposed to take care of the kids until they're old enough not to take care of them anymore. And that's it. That's it. Unconditional love is also part of this parental-child contract. And it's okay if you're struggling with this need to please your parents when you've never been told any different. So this is me telling you, you don't owe anyone anything. You don't owe anyone anything. The only people that you owe something to is if you're a parent, you owe your child unconditional love. End of story. You can @ me on Instagram, @Paul Fishman, slide into my DMs and tell me why you don't owe your kids something. I will defunk it. Defunk it? Debunk it. I will defunk it, because that is a funky statement right there. But I will also debunk it, because there is no reason why you cannot and should not, yes, I'm using the shame word here, should not love your kids unconditionally. They are worth that. They deserve that. And if you listen to this week's interview with Jason Reed, then you know what I'm talking about. So when we're talking about ditching the need for external validation, let's kind of recap where we are so far. Approval, That's what validation is, looking for approval from other people that you're doing a good job. The second piece, how to discern from one and the other. External validation is approval from other people. Internal validation is approval from yourself. And how do we really, really get into that foundation of personal approval? Using that statement at the end of your sentences, and that's good enough for me. And that's good enough for me. And if it doesn't feel like it's good enough for you, then that is a very, very clear sign that it's time for you to start doing something different, or reaching for the stars, or expanding on your already very clearly communicated dreams about yourself. Okay? So here's the final piece. How do we ditch the need for external validation? All right, are you ready? Acknowledge that other people validating you has nothing to do with you. Wait, what? What? That doesn't make sense. Okay, clearly, that's why I'm here, to deepen the understanding. Other people's validation of you has nothing to do with you. Zero. Because let's say, for example, I post a photo on Instagram and it gets like 10 likes, which, I could be mad at Instagram, but also I celebrate the fact that 10 people were impacted enough to like that photo, even if it's just to see the photo. So let's say that I'm looking for twice as many people. Like, I really want 20 people to like this photo, but only 10. What is that additional 10 doing for me? Really? Is it telling me that I'm on the right path? Is it telling me that I'm good enough? Is it telling me any of those things? No. All it's doing is it's sharing the additional impact that I made, which doesn't really have anything to do with other people. Is everything to do with yourself. So you see how it's like a double-sided coin here, right? On one side, external validation has nothing to do with you. And on the other side, external validation has the kind of wherewithal to show you that you're making an impact. So if we focus in on the latter and we ditch the former, right? If we focus in the fact that you're making an impact with every single person that says, hey, I see you, I acknowledge you, you're doing a great job, know that you're just giving them permission to also follow their dreams, or to post on Instagram, or to do the thing. So I know that like kind of wading through this and applying your personal experience to this can be challenging. And that's why I'm here. And that's why I have a very successful program called the Self-Love Diet, where I welcome people in to work with me exclusively to understand how to remove the need for external validation and or reframe what external validation means to you. The desire for external validation will, in best case, leave you 75% of the time. The other 25%, because you're human and you have conditioning, I don't know anyone in my personal circle, really in this world, that doesn't require some sort of external validation, even if it's external validation from a higher power, right? Because if you're thinking, oh, well, what about like monks, Tibetan monks who just like, leave society to go live in the mountains and everything in between. Well, they're looking for external validation from a higher power, right? Not from themselves, not from other people. Granted, they're doing it for themselves, or they're doing it to find the answer or meanings or truth behind their life. And it all comes down to acknowledging that external validation, or the desire for it, can really be used as a roadmap to discover what you truly want in life. If you continuously look for external validation around your dreams, that might be a good sign to keep on doing that. And also acknowledge that they are your dreams, so you can't expect to receive validation from anyone but yourself. I know it's a lot to unpack, and if you're really intrigued by this concept of dismissing external validation and really ramping up internal validation, send me a DM on Instagram at Paul Fishman, or simply apply for my program, the Self-Love Diet, where we work together for 6 months to learn how to habitually nourish the devotion to your individuality, not to the devotion to what other people expect you to be. paulfishman.love/self-love diet, or send me a DM on Instagram. Let's talk. My DMs are always open. I don't think that you understand how much I love doing this. Maybe you do. because I release these shows twice a week and I show up on Instagram talking about it. It's just like the opportunity to learn and inspire and empower other people through self-love, self-acceptance, and so much more. Self-validation, of course, just lights me up because I'm learning about myself as we all get to grow and learn together. So, self-lover, I want to leave you with this. If you spend your entire day craving other people's validation, craving other people telling you that you're good enough, that you're on the right path, I want you to go listen to that other solo cast that I did last week, How to Trust Yourself. Acknowledge that trusting yourself is the first step to ridding the need for external validation. And I also want you to know that you're only human. Right? The first step is noticing. Every single one of my clients, when something comes up, I say, okay, well, notice how often this happens, or notice when this thought is coming up for you, or notice how often you look for others' approval instead of just knowing that you're on the right path. And with that being said, if you like this episode, please share it with a friend, family member. Give yourself permission to acknowledge that you are worth it, and you do deserve it. And most importantly, you are not alone. Please share this with a friend if you think it'll make a difference in their life. Screenshot this episode, post it to Instagram, and tag me at Paul Fishman so I know that you are having a breakthrough. Because if you feel like sharing this means that there's something that is broken through. And please, give yourself a little bit of grace on this journey to self-love. It is not finite. You're not going to wake up one day and know how to love yourself without ever running over a roadblock or road bump or whatever it might be. The truth of the matter is that you are exactly where you're meant to be, and I'm here for you. paulfishman.love/self-love diet, or just hit me up on Instagram at Paul Fishman. We'll see you next time. Bye.